We're back in the booth, everybody. We're here at the Western Conference. It's the afternoon, and I have the best guest. I know I've probably said that about all of them, but this is probably the best one. Matt Dean, co-founder, chief strategy guy of Dean&Co. What is Dean&Co, and how do I know you? What do we do together?
We've been working together for a couple years now.
Okay.
Dean&Co is a full-service creative agency. We specialize in branding, design, and digital marketing. And really, we operate under one motto, which is do good work with good people.
I love that. Do I fit under the good people part?
You do.
All
yeah.
right. So you work with a lot of different industries, retail and other types of industries. Is there anything interesting about retail or development or real estate in general that kind of maybe makes us different or more interesting?
Yeah, I think for me, personally, I've always been a massive fan of architecture. Took a bunch of classes at school for it. Knew I was never going to be an architect, but I've always really loved the built environment. We do work a little bit in office, some hospitality, but I think for retail, what's really fun is from a branding perspective, when we work on a retail development or a mixed-use development, it's the quintessential idea of a brand. You can create a logo, a website, an identity, but there's so much that goes into merchandising the space, the architecture, how people are going to interact with the environment. And I think that's what's always really exciting for me and our team, is because there's more components than just something that's, here's an identity for you with a verbal ID. There's so many components that make that brand come to life. And then retail's super fun because people will take their kids there, their family there, their friends when they come into town. It becomes their place that they really love. And when you can curate that and give that experience to people and then physically see that, it's just really exciting.
Yeah, it's really interesting because you're not just a logo on a TV screen, you're not just a logo on a shirt, you actually get to go experience the product, which is very unique.
Yep.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
In terms of branding, I think probably before we met, I looked at branding and I was like, oh, it's the logo, it's the Nike swoosh, it's the this or that. But it's more than that, isn't it?
Yes.
How much more?
Yeah, so I think the way that I always look at it is, people describe brand or branding in a lot of different ways, but I try to look at it under simple pillars for me. And really the first one is looking at the strategy. So brand strategy is everything to us. It allows you to understand the business goals of a company. Even a project has business goals. You identify the target audience and you say, okay, here's a really good strategy that we want to build from. Then you need to start developing that. So what does that actually look like? What does it feel like? Then we move over to the execution and the deployment phase. And that's where you start to actually put that into the real world, whether it's a website, digital marketing, whatever it may be. And then I think for me, where a lot of people, this is where branding really comes into play for us and our agency is once you launch that and deploy that, everything's great, but it's not going to be great forever. Everything needs to continue to evolve. So I think a lot of people miss the mark in the final phase, which is really the learning, the growing, and the ability to adapt. You know your target audience today, but what are they going to like tomorrow? What are they going to be into? Again, that's where retail becomes real fun, because then you can merchandise around that as you continue to learn, and you can continue to develop with what people are really looking for. So for me, branding is a culmination of all those, and really the ability to stay current and stay relevant and continue to deliver for your audience that you're trying to sell to.
Very cool. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Are there any projects recently that you worked on that you'd like to share?
The Lewis retail booth.
That is true. You did all the graphics for our booth, and it looks fantastic.
Our team did the graphic design for this alongside Brandon Sipe. But for me right now, I think the one that really tugs at my heartstrings, honestly, is a project in downtown Long Beach called Mosaic.
Okay.
I lived in Long Beach for 7 years. My kids were born there. And it's a 14.5-acre mixed-use development that our team was able to rebrand, and it was a failing project. The owners came in and allowed us to kind of put our Long Beach story on it, and the project has been absolutely excelling since then. And to watch that come to life, we did a 340-foot mural that covered an entire street, and to see people rollerblading on it and skating and playing with their kids, it's just incredibly fun. So I think that's one that really is something that we love.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of small businesses here. There's also a lot of big franchises. There's also a lot of brokers real estate brokers who run their own business.
Yep.
If you're somebody starting out, running your own business or getting started, or maybe you haven't really thought about branding, what's some advice you give somebody to kind of start? Maybe you don't have a big budget, but you want to start somewhere. What do you recommend?
Yeah, I think not just being an agency owner and a branding guy, but for me, invest as much as you can as early as you can. Buy cheap, buy twice is something that I live by. But it really makes a difference. And for me, like going back to the question of branding, I think branding is also, what is your reputation going to be?
Sure.
So you can say that you're going to do something, but it really means a lot to live by that and to show that to the world.
Yeah.
So the sooner that you can start doing that and building that reputation and building that trust and confidence, the more your business is going to succeed in the long run. So whatever you can allocate now, whatever you can commit to now, I would do that right away, and that would be my main advice, is really double down on that, because that's really going to be your reputation and your runway for success.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Matt, thank you so much for meeting with us. I know you're a busy boy. Oh, by the way, congratulations. You won a couple of awards today, I think.
We did, yeah. We won 2 Gold Davy Awards today, which is very exciting.
And you made it here on that same day, so thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Thank you.